Mario Kart World looks amazing. So let's do a rapid fire rundown of all the key details I've noticed so far, including new mechanics, Easter eggs, and all kinds of other things. And let's start off with some of the new item things I noticed, such as how it seems you're still able to drag items behind you. But what's interesting is that it includes items you were never able to drag before. Like the bullet bill here. Are you able to use it defensively now? And do you have control over it, or does the game force you to drag it? We can see something similar with the gold mushroom, which is making me think this might just be the default state of a lot of items, if not all of them. Hell, we even see Rosalina dragging a coin behind her too. So there has to be something to it. Again, either as a default resting position for the item until you use it, or maybe they have more defensive properties too. Or perhaps someone can steal it from you. And speaking of coins real quick, at one point we can see Luigi has 20, as in twice the amount of the usual 10. So are they even more important for gaining speed in this game? Or could it be that they serve another purpose? Especially as I notice these coin stacks here, suggesting there might be times where you can grab a whole bunch at once. And then there are a slew of new items too, like Hammer Bros hammers you can throw, which by the way we can see is also drugged behind you. Furthermore, not only are they active projectiles, but we can see they get lodged into the ground afterward too, which could make them a permanent hazard, or at least one that lasts longer than you'd think. Then there's a coin box item, which seems to award you 1 coin while dropping 2 more onto the track itself for others to collect. Except for when the box breaks at the very end and dumps a whole bunch. Then at another point we can see a Kamek flying away from Mario as Mario waves at him, which to me implies that he is in fact a power-up that then gets sent off to go mess with someone else ahead of you. At one point we can even see what his power-up item is going to be, a crystal ball. And speaking of the item reel, it reveals one other new item too that I don't think we see in practice elsewhere in the trailer, being the Ice Flower, which technically isn't new if you count Mario Kart Tour, in which you can throw up to 3 of them to freeze your opponents. Then we have the return of the Mega Mushroom from Mario Kart Wii. And yes, we know it's a Mega Mushroom as you can see at the very start. Now there also seems to be a new kind of item too. And like the others, you also start off by dragging it behind you too. But this one doesn't appear to be a proper power-up per se. Instead, it appears to be food items they can grab from places like Yoshi Cafe that then change how you look, by literally changing your costume and appearance. Now as for why you'd want to do this, we're not sure yet. Sure, it looks cool, but does it have any actual gameplay effect? We just don't know yet. Finally, we have the semi-truck, which I don't know if that qualifies as a power-up or not. In any case, if you're the first to come across one, you can climb in through the back and then drive it around. A little bit like the best racing game of all time, being Stunt Race FX. And it seems to be a hefty beast, as it can break through environmental hazards like the fences here. Furthermore, it will knock out any racer that touches it too, which is probably going to be most of them, as that is a massive truck. And speaking of trucks, is that a Toad driving that truck? Does that make it a Toad truck? We also see Shy Guys and Koopa Troopas driving other background vehicles too. It's very cute. But hold up, if we go back to that Toad truck, did you see that thing hopping up in the back? That's a mushroom. And as it turns out, it's not just hopping up, but hopping off the truck, as in it becomes a mushroom you can pick up off the ground. Which is almost exactly how these mushroom cars worked in Double Dash. But in that game, the mushrooms only popped out when you ran into the car, which doesn't seem to be the case here. So I have 2 thoughts. The Toad might just throw them out randomly, or perhaps on a timer, or maybe it happens whenever someone passes his truck. He does turn his head to look right at Peach after all. Oh, and the emblem on front of his car is a cute little tanuki leaf. In any case, the fact he's also driving a mushroom branded truck does make me wonder there could be other item based trucks out there too. Speaking of interesting vehicles, there's quite a few more weird ones out there in this game, and I'm not talking the ones you race on. Like, did you catch this pickup truck with a giant spike on it? Well, we can see exactly what he does in a later scene, being he drops spike balls on the track. Then there are the Yoshi shaped semi-trucks themed to Yoshi Cafe, in which you can grab one of those costume changing power-ups we mentioned earlier. You can see the gold bag right on top. Then we have this crazy scene which shows off Bullet Bill cars, or Bullet Bills traveling as cars, but bomb cars, and even a barrel cannon car, which I can only assume launches you into the air in a possible flying segment. Hey, maybe that's how Mario got in the air right now. Then there's a Shy Guy hauling a really long pipe. Is that safe? In any case, I'm certain that if you approach from behind, you can definitely grind up that pipe, much as we know you can now do with almost any railing. Finally, while we're talking about vehicles, I of course have to point out the fact that your vehicle in this game appears to transform when needed, much like Sonic All-Stars Racing transformed, into things like powered flight, similar to the hang glider from Mario Kart 8, as well as boats. Alright, let's go ahead and move on into some track-specific details. And as it turns out, our first look at Mario Bros. Circuit in the new trailer takes place at a different time than other scenes in the trailer. Do you see that spiky shell sign in the street, which the background cars can mysteriously drive through? Well, that same sign went by a different name with a different icon in the first trailer of the game. being Shine Sprite. So maybe it changes name based on the cup you're in or some other factor? Furthermore, we can see a new track hazard here themed after a tire that rolls back and forth. But even more exciting is the giant tornado in the background here, which I don't think we've seen in Mario Kart since Double Dash. But in this case, given the more open gameplay, I wouldn't be surprised if that tornado could fling you somewhere far. So maybe it can be both a hazard as well as maybe giving you a shortcut if you get lucky. And speaking of giant hazards, we can't not point out the giant dune-like sandworm thing. Meanwhile, in another track that I don't think we have the name of yet, did anyone else see that giant shadow? What the hell is that? A sandbird, maybe? Maybe it's just that plane you see flying around other parts of the trailer. And in that same scene, we can see another racer driving along the wall. Even though anti-gravity may not be back, it sure looks like there's still elements of it here. In what appears to be our first returning track, being DK Pass from the DS, did you catch that cute sign of a skiing DK in the background? Speaking of DK, welcome to DK Spaceport, which features a racetrack made of red girders that leads right to the rocket ship. But those aren't just any red girders, it's specifically in the design of the very first level from the original Donkey Kong arcade game, complete with rolling barrels, which just so happen to be launched by these cannon things. It even has the blue ladders too. And did you spot these little hovering drones lighting up the track? Oh yeah, and there even appears to be a giant robotic DK hopping around too. He even has DK emblazoned on his arm. But as for what's going on with his backpack, I have no idea. Finally, it appears that the track actually leads into the rocket itself. What happens then? I hope you get launched off somewhere. We actually get a really good look at the entire top area in this screenshot from the website, in which we can better see the rolling barrels being thrown by the robotic DK. Then there's another clip later in the trailer that appears to show the same track. We know it's the same because it features the same red girders surrounded by a bunch of water. And that's not even to mention the diagrams of the fireball and oil barrel from the same original arcade game again. By the way, how crazy this new maneuver here, where we're not just driving along the walls, but hopping between them. I'm not exactly sure how this works, but it looks like you may get a boost at the end for your effort. Then we have Crown City, which, by the way, is the only track we've seen so far to appear in two different cups of the classic Grand Prix mode, with one taking place during the day and the other taking place at night. And it's a little surprising we haven't seen more, considering we've already seen the contents of 4 of the 7 cups. So I'm guessing we'll see even more duplicate track entries in the latter 3. Anyways, there's all kinds of fun details found in this track, like the Koopa construction sign, and the various related ads below. Then there are the banners for something related to Pauline, followed by the top of a nearby building being lit up like a classic NES brick. There also appears to be an ad for the Sunshine, a train that will appear in the level Whistletop Summit. And then there's a giant Mario Kart TV skyscraper in the distance. Lakitu is always watching. And another clip shows this track in the daytime version. And we can even see a little food truck for Yoshi Cafe. You know, the business we first saw in the reveal trailer for the Switch 2. And we get a better look at it in the key art for the game. And it's clearly Yoshi-shaped too. And speaking of Yoshi Cafe, we can just barely see another location at the start of this clip, in what I believe is faraway Oasis. I based that on all the animals we can see roaming around across a variety of clips, including what appears to be a wildebeest stampede, which apparently they hop if you run into them, zebras, giraffes, and even camels and elephants in what I'm guessing is the Oasis part of the track. Speaking of animals, we have to talk about the dinosaurs on yet another track. Now you probably noticed this giant Brachiosaurus-like thing. Well, if you take a look at a picture of it from the website, it appears to almost have a Yoshi or Plessy-like head. There's also another dinosaur that's easy to miss despite its size, being this horn guy right here. Alright, let's start to wind down to the few rapid-fire details here that I couldn't fit anywhere else in. Like the giant sign on the mountaintop that says, Home of the Rainbow Fragment. Is there a piece of Rainbow Road hiding up there waiting for you to check it out? Heck, maybe that's the key to getting Rainbow Road in the first place. We haven't seen it yet after all. Also, on the right here, we can see a P-switch. One of a couple we can see throughout the trailer. And it makes me wonder what exactly that does. If it works like in the mainline games, it probably changes something very temporarily for your benefit, if you move quick. Then, did you take a look at this crazy horror-themed level? Or should I say, horror movie-themed level? Because you're actually racing on giant film reels, which contain a horrified-looking Princess Peach. Furthermore, if you look very closely, the entire film reel is actually moving, to the point you can actually see a spool unreeling itself. And at the very end, you can even see the container itself that all the film is coming from. Woo! And with that, I've covered some of the biggest details I've spotted so far, although obviously I could go on forever with how many details there are in here, and trust me, I have other ideas for more videos in the future. Now, I didn't cover some things like the character roster so far, or all the returning tracks, as we already have separate shorts available for those as well. But in addition, something else occurred to me is, we have Treehouse Lives coming up very soon, which could feature even more gameplay. So I wanted to get this video out as soon as I possibly could, before it might be dated by the rest, and just make my life a living hell. So with that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed enjoyed this video, please click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on everything else we have coming up from the Direct and otherwise. We'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.